What's up, Nerf herders? This is Allan from OC Nerf, and today we're going to be taking a look at an item that was sent over to me by WorkerKit, also known as Lightake or NFStrike.com. Their new website, WorkerKit, focuses on all of their worker products and F10555 products. So it's a website specifically dedicated to that product line as a main distributor for worker products. What we have here is the worker buffer tube and also the F10555 buffer tube with the adjustable stock as well. They sent this over to me. It came with 3 parts, which I will be showing you here. The parts that it comes with is the adjustable stock itself, the buffer tube, and an adapter piece for your Springer blasters. Now, as you know, Springer blasters have an extra piece here that juts out, which serves as a protection for the plunger rod that comes back, but this adapter will not work with that. It needs something that's smaller. Those extra pieces won't fit inside of here. So if you have that, like in this case, a Retaliator or even an Alpha Trooper, and this is the part that I'm talking about, it will not fit all the way into the back of that because this won't fit inside of the buffer tube. It's pretty much the same diameter, so there's no way this will fit inside of there. So what you'll need to do is either cut this part off or purchase this additional adapter piece. I think this comes with one of these, but if you were wanting to, let's say, have a few blasters on site that are Springer-based blasters and you want to be able to swap the stocks between them, you will need to make sure that the adapter pieces on all the blasters you want to use are going to work with this buffer tube. You can purchase this individually, and it is fairly inexpensive to do so, or you can just cut the tube part off of your existing ones, and it's up to you and how much you want to clean up that hole afterwards. But just note that when you are purchasing this. If we are talking about electronic blasters, however, they don't have that part, and so this just pretty much fits right on in. So there's no need to work that out there. To note, this piece right here has that hole so that you can have your plunger rod still come out, as you can see here. It is a significantly wider hole than the hole that's in here, so if you were going with something that was a power stock, for example, that was expanded in this hole, this should cover it just fine. Another thing to note is the screw placement on this separate piece here does fit Springers. I've only worked on it with the Retaliator and the Alpha Trooper, but it does fit for Springer sizing. The electronic ones, which I don't understand why you'd want to use this on these anyway, but they don't match the screw holes, so that's something to note as well. The construction on this is remarkable. I was expecting, since this was advertised as an F10555 product, that it would be 3D printed, and it's not. I thought perhaps this wouldn't be 3D printed, but the rest of it would be 3D printed, including the stock, and again, I was completely wrong. So I've actually kind of steered away from this product because I thought that the whole thing was 3D printed, and I'm really glad that I was proven wrong. As you can see here, there's 6 adjustable points here. This seems to be completely just molded plastic. It's welded in the middle there. You can see the seam. These have screws in here. It has a nice clicky spring, and obviously this works as a complete adapter that matches up with all of the NFStrike stock attachment points. It does fit better in some than others. Interestingly enough, it fits super tight on their own adapter and fits a little bit better depending on the blaster, like with the Captain Cassian Andor blaster that I was showing you. It fits in there pretty well, actually. There's no wobble, but it's easy to put in and easy to take out. This, as you can see here as well on this side, says CTR, STR. Let's see if the camera gets that. So you can use a lot of different kinds of stocks, not just the one that they provide. In fact, they actually have different ones as well in the store. But you can just go to your typical airsoft store and pick one of these up. Or if you already have one of your own, you can go ahead and use that in here. These are all made of some kind of polymer plastic. I don't know what that would be. But they're really, really rigid and very sturdy. Again, I really thought these were going to be 3D printed for some reason. But I'm super glad that they're not. But I've been kind of play testing it, really putting it through its paces. and it's very rigid. This as well is extremely rigid. The cheek piece here is hollow on the inside, as you can see, but it is also still very rigid. This is the adjustment paddle here so that you can release the pin so that you can slide it all the way in, or to its one of the 6 adjustment points that it has. And it kind of just locks in by putting that pin into one of these holes as you go through the adjustment. This back plate is a rubber bumper that you can actually take off and replace with another one, since this is the same specifications as an actual, in fact, I wouldn't put it past them to say that this is pretty much just your typical actual adjustable stock. Really, it's this piece that makes it adaptable to Nerf blasters. That's the innovation. The rest of these are pretty much just things that you would sell at an airsoft store or even a real steel store. It's just polymer. It even has these slots here that you can use to attach a adjustable cheek rest. If you want it to be higher, as I mentioned here, this thing you can just pop off and put in a new bumper pad if you needed more bumper pad. But since there's really no recoil in these blasters, there's no need to do that anyhow. You'll notice there's all these different adjustment points. There's even a spot here, and it's ambidextrous, of course. It's on both sides to be able to insert a sling point as well. And just as well here, you'll notice that you can also slip in a sling point here. It's got the few locking points. If you've ever been familiar in using them, it's got the few locking points here that you can actually put in a sling point here and then have the pin go here instead. And you'd have a sling point closer to the blaster rather than to the end of the blaster back here. So you've got a lot of different options. I think that's really cool. And again, this is very sturdy and this is very well made. I tried twisting it. There's some creaks, and that's because it is plastic, and that's because I was really torquing it. Definitely harder than anything you'd come up with a toy grade stuff. So this is very surprisingly good material. This feels pretty close to the same material as the plastic here, so there's nothing special about that other than this is a very clean way of taking off that back end tube. The closest analog for Nerf on this would be the Raider stock, which has been reused on the red Super Soaker and has been reused on the yellow Barricade, the clear Raiders, or any of the Raider variants really, and also the different Super Soaker variants. The latest use of it was in the Star Wars line, both in the Star Wars Death Trooper Deluxe and also the Deluxe Captain Cassian Andor blaster, I believe. And it looks like this. This is the Captain Cassian Andor one. It is collapsible as well, and I believe this has 4 spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4. It has 4 spots on here. It has that paddle as well. It's got similar features to it, a back plate, a tube, this. But obviously, if you've ever used this before, it isn't as solid as this. It's made out of the same toy grade plastic, which is still good ABS, but this is very sturdy and very thick plastic. And as you can see there, it pulls out, but you do have to adjust it going back in, whereas this is not. It locks into place both out and in, and you do have to account for it as you're pulling it out. So position 1, position 2, position 3, which is the fullest extension. So halfway through the adjustment points is the fullest extension on the Nerf branded version. And you can go all the way out to 4, 5, and 6, and then eventually off. So this will go through a varying range of heights. All the way in, you can see that it's already probably closing in on 3 inches, definitely over 2 inches longer than the enclosed one of this. So you've got a little bit of a feel for how it would be if you have one of these Raider style stocks. There you go. And then attaching it is pretty simple and straightforward. You just slip it in there, let it lock, and there you go. And removing it is the same. You pull down on this piece right here. And that's pretty much the functions and features of this product. Again, I've never actually had this because, again, I thought that it was 3D printed. But now that I do, I thoroughly enjoy it. It does add a little bit of weight, actually a lot of weight to the blaster, because these parts are so thick. But it gives it a nice balance since the weight is put into the rear, not necessarily front. And if you have what I have, which is a pump kit in the front, then it kind of balances the weight out as well. So it's not all in the front, it is in the back as well. So it kind of works out really well. So if we take this off and tried it on this blaster, for example, it still works out pretty nicely. It really fits with the theme that this blaster is going for, with its almost, well, it's Star Wars, so it's very faux military looking. Now, I believe you can buy this as a whole, so that includes the buffer tube, the stock attachment point, and the adapter piece. But you can also buy them all separately, and you can buy different kinds of stock attachment points. And I believe there's 2 kinds of buffer tubes. This is this static one, so it doesn't do anything other than what it is. The other one is the collapsible one, where it has another notch here so that it hinges over and closes in on itself if necessary. So there's 2 kinds of that I'm aware of that is being sold on the website, and there's a couple of different variations of this that I know that Worker advertises and puts out, and you don't have to necessarily get it from Worker. They do offer it, and I think they offer it at a pretty compatible price. But because of its compatibility, if you already have one, you should be able to use it. Or you can just maybe go to a surplus store and purchase one, or go to an airsoft store and purchase one, or purchase one online that you like specifically. That will probably still work with this buffer tube. So those are the nice handy features of that. So there's a lot of pros. The only complaints that I really have about this product is the really tight tension fit that it has on its own adapter piece. I think that it could have been done smoother, but it's really, really tight fit. Now, obviously, that means it just won't go anywhere, which is a really nice thing as well. But if you want to take it off and put it back on, it does require quite a bit of force to do that. I think it's really my only complaint about this entire thing. It's super solid, and I can't say anything else bad about it. It was well constructed and well put together. If you guys have any other questions about this product, let me know in the comments section below. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If this is your first time viewing, thank you guys for watching my channel. And I'd love to chat with you down below. Nerf on, everybody.